One of the most beautiful women in the known universe, on the other hand, is our own movie channel mail girl. And here she is again, looking even more gorgeous than usual.
That's it?
No, there's more. As a matter of fact, you're not only the most beautiful woman on television, you're the hardest working, the most intelligent, and you have a certain savoir fricassee about you.
What is that?
Savoir fricassee. It's like, it means you're beautiful even in France.
Why are you being so nice to me?
Well, because we don't often take time in our personal lives to stop, look around us at who means the most to us, and thank them for being there, just for being you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining. This is John with another episode of the Witching Hour podcast. I am beyond ecstatic today. I have a living legend, a true icon gracing the show tonight. We have Honey Gregory. Honey, welcome to the show. Thank you so much.
Hi.
Thank you for taking the time. If I may, the original, the one and only true in my heart, the real mail girl sitting across from me. We are talking. I have done research on you. I've watched you. You have been a very, very busy girl, a very busy lady throughout your life.
Yes. Gotta stay busy.
And you are back.
Yes, I hope so.
You are back with a vengeance. If I may, to sum up everybody on your history real quick, you're originally born in Fort Worth, Texas.
Right.
School, married, baby, divorce. You got into the entertainment industry after studying drama in high school.
Mm-hmm.
You landed a couple music videos, did some TV. It was then you landed what was then going to change your life, hopefully for the better,
Yes.
with Monster Vision.
Yes.
And you got to set opposite of, as we all know and love, Mr. Joe Bob Briggs. Joe Bob Briggs, yes.
Yep.
Where you then owned and created the name of Mail Girl.
Yes. Oh, what a nice introduction. Thank you.
Well, thank you. No, hey, justice is due, and you definitely deserve it. You left the show. You were on Monster Vision for how long?
Well, there was the movie channel first.
Right.
And then we switched to the Monster Vision.
Right.
Let's see, the first couple of times, at the very beginning, it was about over 12, 13 months. I started out as, I think it was called Trudy, the hubby girl. So he used to give his hubby awards, and so he wanted a Vanna White kind of gal out there, And so the first time they had me on the show, they had me in some cowgirl outfit, and I was just doing my Vanna White,
right.
Doing my little, And of course he was doing his usual, and the award goes to, and then he'd look around and go, well, I guess they're not here, And I'm like, oh, well, playing kind of the ditzy blonde. But, and then the second year they brought me back. And then after that, I guess, according to John or Joe Bob, he was saying, oh, we're getting all this fan mail for you, honey. You need to come back on the show. And I'm like, well, okay. And so he gave it some thought. And I think they might have already been doing a little bit of a reading of the mail. So somehow he just said, hey, you want to come on and do the skits with me and read the mail? And I was like, sure. I'm like, why not? Sounds like fun. So, he was so much fun and so silly anyway. Any opportunity to be on the stage with him is always a blessing. So I was jumping right on that. And
the spiciness that you gave back to him was, me personally, I think that's what made it. The chemistry, it wasn't, you were just, the ditzy blonde. Yeah. Oh, Joe Bob, he. I mean, he'd make his remarks towards you as a man, and your spicy comments back to him, putting him in place. I think it was great. Well, he was a brilliant writer, so I had to give him some of that credit. But sure. A lot of times he would write the script, and we would get out there and just start playing around, and whatever came out, And he would say, we'd do a couple rehearsals. Honey,
Now, pretend you like me in this one. So we would do it one way. And then the next we go, pretend you hate me, and pretend you don't care, And so we would do it sometimes, rehearse it 2 or 3 different ways. And then we kind of decide which way we liked it the best. And then we would roll. But once the camera was going,
right.
who knew what was really going to happen? Because sometimes I'd be right in the moment and I'd forget my lines. So I'd just make something up.
Well, with that being said, back dating a couple years, a brand new show. How hard was that? How nerve-wracking was that to have a brand new series like that actually take off and carry on, and bless his heart to have it still continuing.
Yeah, right. Well,
when starting off, did you honestly think that this would continue as well as it did, even just for you?
No, not at all. I had totally no clue at all. Nothing.
Right.
It was it was a gig, and I didn't know from one time to the next. So we tried it the first time, and it was like an all weekend kind of thing. They would send over my scripts at like midnight on a Friday night, and I would have to stay awake, go get it, read through them, and then get up at like 5 a.m, wash my hair, put curlers in my hair, and then go.
Right.
And I'm driving, at 5:30 in the morning down the highway with rollers in my hair, looking just so lovely, and to get to like some crazy early call time. And so the first time I was like, oh my gosh, this is, I'd rather be sleeping. This is terrible, But, when you're a model and actress, you expect that. So you're like, okay, I'm just going to go and have a good time. And the first time we did it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so silly.
Right. Sure.
This is just so silly. And in my head, I was like, are people really watching this? Because we are just really silly.
And I mean, being awoken at that time of morning, and folks, you got to appreciate the younger generation being awoken with this thing called the smell of Aquanet. And it was big that time frame, and there was a lot of money made in that stuff. The lovely lady sitting in front of me right now with the nice, long, laid down, straight, beautiful hair. That's not what you saw back when this show was going.
Oh my gosh, no. No. It was the big hair. It was the big hair. It was the big hair.
There you go. Right. There it was. Yes, that was
and
my
even that's kind of tame. That's kind of tame because they had my hair pulled back a little bit.
Well, back on
some
one
days
side,
it was
sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. I would have my model's bag with me, and there was always 2 or 3 cans of Aquanet in there and makeup just in case I needed to put my own. Oh,
had to be. You were a rock star. Everybody had Aquanet back then.
Well, you had to. It's the only way it stayed. You had to lacquer it up in order to stay in place. My goodness.
Sure. Well, so with the continuation, the success of the show, you did leave to further your own dreams and desires. You actually jumped across the pond and you studied abroad for a while.
I did. Well, I graduated from Southern Methodist University, so I was actually studying while I was on the show.
Right. And you were
I was in
mom at the time too.
I was a single parent. I was working part-time in a nightclub, and I was going to school full-time and raising a child pretty much all by myself. Dad was not involved. Grandma helped occasionally, but I was doing it all myself. So there was a lot of sleepless nights. I don't know how I got through it, but maybe it's because I was in my 20s. I just didn't think about it. It just had to get done, and you did it, but
I commend you for that. I do.
Well, thank you. And so, yeah, when I graduated in 97, is that right? No, 99. No, wait a minute. Oh my gosh, I'm getting confused. 97. So I graduated SMU in 97 with honors, and had aspirations to go to law school and maybe do something else. And, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to business school or law school. And so I decided I was going to take a year to travel. The person I was dating and engaged to at the time was from Switzerland. He was actually on one of the shows. He was in I can't remember if it was the Halloween special or a Christmas special, but he was in one of the shows. So my ex-fiance was, and he's on there somewhere. Yeah, and I decided to go, and I told Joe Bob that I'd be happy to fly back, because we used to only we would shoot every 8 to 10 weeks. And we would shoot all weekend, all day long. I mean, from the crack of dawn until midnight, and then get up and do it all over again for 2 days.
Right.
And that was usually around 8 to 10 weekends,
Right.
episodes, whatever you want to call it. And my skits were, he did the intro, and then I was in the middle, and then he did the outro usually, and then we would do some promo kind of stuff. So when he was shooting the other stuff, I was running, and changing clothes. But I told him, I said, fly me there. It wasn't that expensive,
Right.
I said, fly me back for a couple of days and I'll do it. I'll keep doing it. And I think he wanted to, but people in charge of the budget and all that other stuff were like, no,
Right.
it's an extra $1,000 or something to fly me or whatever it was.
Right.
It was pricey back then, but not too unreasonable. And so they decided to find a new girl. So they did a couple. I think there was Reno and I think there was two, a redhead and a blonde.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They didn't last very long. And then I think he had some twins or something on there one time or two. That didn't last very long. And then the show was canceled.
Right.
And then he kind of went dormant about it for a long time, But we stayed in touch, he and I. When I came back to the States, we stayed in touch. And then he got, I kept telling him, bring a show back. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll help you. And then he's like, no, nobody wants to see that. That's old. It's dumb. It's not maybe dumb. Maybe whatever word he used was something like out of style,
Right. Sure.
Not relevant for these times. And I kept saying, no, we need to do it. And then some conventions came out and I said, well, you need to start doing the conventions. And he kind of poo-pooed that off too. And then one day he called and says, okay, I've been invited to go to the Horror Hound in Indianapolis in 2009.
There you go.
Coming up here and hanging out with me for the weekend. I was like, well, yeah.
Right.
So I reached out to some of the people that I knew that was involved in that, and they got me a room and, hung out. We had a great time. And then we did it again the next year. But the next year was different. The first year was really cool because, oh my gosh, nobody had seen him in so long. And so the line of people was insane. It was like we were way back in the corner, like this massive, massive room. And we're like, corner. And people are like running around trying to find him. Once they found him, man, the line just took off. And it was like all the way down the convention hall to the left and out the door.
Right. Right. That's awesome. That had been a great feeling.
Oh, we didn't go to the bathroom. We didn't have lunch. We didn't do anything because the line didn't stop. And finally, at some point, I was like, oh my God, I got to go. But,
and that must have been mind blowing for the two of you to see.
Well, it was, I don't know if it was for him. I think it was a little because we kind of talked about it. But for me, I was just like godsmacked, it was like, what?
Right.
There are people who remember.
Exactly. Exactly. Right.
Back from 20 years ago or whatever it was, And I'm like, that silly show that came on like late at night when everybody's supposed to be sleeping. And I had no concept at all whatsoever that there was that many people. I mean, he was famous in his own right anyway, from his one-man shows and being in movies and his being a journalist or whatever. So I mean, he had fame already.
Sure.
But in my mind, it was like, really, how many people are watching this cable show? Back in the 80s.
And it just goes to prove, the things in the horror community. It's a very tight-knit community. They don't let go of anything. The worst thing, the absolute worst movie that you think you've ever seen as far as in the horror genre goes, someone's claim to fame and someone idolizes and has memorabilia of that film.
Yep.
And and that just proves the point that it never goes away.
Yeah, I think that was probably the most mind-boggling thing for me because when I was in college, I didn't have time to watch movies.
Right.
It was 10 years I was in college. And if I did watch a movie, it was something my daughter, my little one wanted to see. It was some animated thing, and mommy's half asleep going, oh yeah, honey, it's great. It's great. It's great.
Right. Right.
but I rarely ever got to go to the movies. And so there's like this decade that I totally missed movies. And then I started working and I got married again and had another kid. And next thing I know, I'm not hardly getting to watch any movies.
Again,
And
right.
yeah, right. And I love movies. That's probably my favorite thing to do. I could be a couch potato real easy and
Sure.
binge all weekend on movies. But so it's kind of fun because right now I'm rediscovering a lot of movies because people come up and say to me, "Have you seen this movie?" I'm like, "No, but I better go home and watch it," and so I'll make a note because I miss so many movies.
Right.
But yeah, he had I was on the I don't know if you know, I was on the premiere season 4 premiere on Joe Bob's new show.
Yes. I was gonna ask how was that for you, honestly? I mean,
Honestly, oh my God.
tense, relieved, easy.
The atmosphere was very different than the atmosphere when we had our show. Our show was or our show, I say that, his show.
Right.
I was, a character on the show, but his show. Um it was a lot of guys that had been on the crew that had been working with uh Joe Bob for a long time,
Mhm.
and they were pretty tight. And so was the producers and the other folks on the crew, and it felt very family like. Um, but when I went to do the season 4 premiere as a guest instead of as the male girl, I felt like an outsider.
Right.
It was really weird. Um, I was just that person who showed up and was going to get on stage and do my thing and leave.
Did that almost
Um,
hurt
um,
that you didn't have
maybe
the
it was a little bit
opportunity?
weird and a little uncomfortable, and because like Darcy wasn't very friendly, which I was surprised because why wouldn't she be?
I was gonna ask if was there any tension of, oh, you used to be, and you're looking at her like, oh, so you're
Me,
the new.
no, no. I'm a very kind, gracious person, and I'm very happy for her.
Right.
I think it's great.
Right.
She mentioned to me in the past when I saw the one man show, and she was there. So when Joe Bob was in Louisville, Kentucky, doing his what is it, the Rednecks Saved Hollywood or whatever it is, I met
Right.
her for the first time, and I was so flattered because she had dressed up like the original male girl. She was in my something similar to one of my old costumes,
Hmm.
and she said, "I just wanted you to know that I've cosplayed you because I admire you and respect you, and I always wanted to be the male girl." She
Right.
goes, "So I looked up to you." So of course I was just absolutely flattered.
Sure.
But then when I got to the actual studio, everyone was very standoffish. I don't know why. It might just be the culture or the atmosphere there. Everything's different. But she wasn't very friendly, which kind of made me sad.
Sure.
And then John was not very friendly, which kind of made me sad. But he just kind of stepped out and looked at me, and goes, "Thanks for doing this, honey," and walked off. And I was like, this is somebody I used to go have dinner with, or something as friends,
Right.
sometimes. But it's a different atmosphere, different time, different situation, different people.
I'm
So it
sorry to
is.
hear that. I truly am, because I mean, putting the old with the new, I mean, that could have
Mhm.
really been something special. It could have been something phenomenal. It
I totally agree with
on
you.
to
And
possibly other events.
because when I went, I had no expectations of ever doing the show again. It
Right.
was just, I felt grateful that they were having me on, and I thought
Sure.
it'd be fun.
Right.
And I got to get out of Bloomington and, get to see another part of the world. So for me, it was just, a wonderful opportunity.
Right.
But then when I got on the stage and started interacting with John, it brought back memories. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun.
Right.
And then Darcy and I did our little skit and our singing, and stuff. And I was like, this is just a blast. We could have so much fun. And I was thinking she and I could do this and she and I could do that. And we could roast him and we could give him crap every single week. And my mind just took off because I'm a
Right.
creative person, probably shouldn't have. But I'm like, oh my God, we could say in doing this. And I told her, and we were like, I was like, girl, we could do this. We could have so much fun. And so after when we were doing some of our other stuff and practicing, she kind of loosened up again a bit. But then I found out that she's just really super shy.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if she felt just shy or maybe she thought I had a problem because I'm not the mill girl anymore. And she
Right.
was like, I don't know. But
Yeah.
when I was at the Jamboree and she and I did the panel together, we had an absolute blast. And the audience loved it. They gave us a standing ovation walking in and a standing ovation leaving.
Nice.
And it was so heartfelt. I almost cried, because I was like, I had no idea there were still people out there who knew who I was and liked my work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so afterwards, one of the guys on the production company came up and said, "Hey, we've been talking. We think that you should come back on the show." And I was like, "Oh my God, that'd be great." So I'm like super excited.
Sure.
I'm like, "Oh, I could do this once a year or something, come down and shoot for a day or two and leave." And they asked me to send some ideas. And I said, sure. So I was like, do you want me as a guest or like a regular guest or regular? And they were like, no, like a regular guest. I said, okay, I'll shoot over some ideas. And I did. And crickets, never heard another peep.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened. Something happened. I don't know what it was, but whatever. Things happen. People say and do funny things. So what do you do?
Yeah. Unfortunately, back in the day, obviously you were trying to make a living, but I think times weren't so much prone about making that living as it was to, let's just put the show on. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna make a lot of great memories, and people are gonna love it.
Yeah.
Now it's a little more corporate ended.
Yeah, probably.
Folks there who are never going to watch the show, who are going to be watching the monthly results come in through an email, are going to decide, no, definitely not. And that's it. You'll never even hear back from them. Sad.
Well, I think there was some mixed mail from what I got because several people reached out to me and said, honey, we want you back on the show, blah, blah, blah. And they were writing in. And I'm like, hey, it's not my decision. It's not my show.
Right.
If people want me on the show and they want me on the show, I'll make it work out.
Right.
But then there were some people who started saying horrible things on social media, like, honey's trying to take Darcy's place and honey's trying to kick Darcy off the show and she's a has-been and she doesn't deserve to be back on there. She's a nobody, and all this funny stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, all it did was say, yeah, I would be a regular guest if it would help Joe Bob, in the show.
Right.
But if it's not going to help the show, I don't want to be a part of it.
Sure.
Move on.
Right. Well, so with that being said, now here we are in 2024.
Yeah.
And I understand that you are piloting, if I may.
We'll see.
Your own.
Hack and I are supposed to have a conversation again tonight. So I have an idea for a show. I don't know how good it is. I hope it's hilarious.
He's ran the idea. Look, he and I talk almost every day. He and I are like brothers. I'm not going to lie.
He's already told you. I told him not to be telling people. I'm going to talk to him tonight. I'm on the phone here in a minute.
He told me that that he was actually going to be calling you as soon as, or you're calling him as soon as you and I are finished.
Yep.
I like it. I like it. It's not going anywhere.
Okay. Well, it's not your traditional show. It's a cross between a couple of shows to make it fun and quirky. It's different.
I'm a supporter of it.
Okay. Yay.
And I've even offered to come in and do.
Would you really?
I'll do the Christmas episode.
You play like a wicked Santa Claus or something or what?
I actually do local Santa visits, and it pays for Christmas around my family. Trust me.
I bet it does because you do have a phenomenal beard.
And he and I actually have a Christmas project that Hack and I are working on.
I would do a Christmas special.
I got a role for you. I've got the script. I've got a role.
Really?
Yes. Ask him about it tonight.
Okay.
He'll tell you. He will.
So yeah, we're trying to do the pilot. I don't know because it's a little difficult with him there and me here, and
Still have
trying to
Anna?
connect and put our ideas together. But we're going to do something, and it probably is not going to be perfect. And if someone picks it up, then hopefully there's be some dollar bills so we can make it a whole lot better. But yeah, that's the goal right now because I cannot tell you how many people since I've been on Joe Bob's show who have said, if you're not going to go back on his show, you need your own. And I'm like, I'm not Joe Bob. Who wants to see me by myself?
I think you'd be surprised.
Well, apparently I'm going to be surprised.
Honestly, I mean, if you promote it well, people are they're gonna, that name is gonna start ringing that bell. And they're gonna be like, holy shit, she's back.
Yeah.
And I really think that you will get people to tune in. I really, really do. And I know Hack well enough. He will sell anything.
I know he's amazing. I had a conversation with him.
Got free support right here too.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. Thank you. It makes my day.
No,
it really makes my day.
It really does. So outside of that, any other projects? I know you're working. You just did a movie, or you're involved in a movie called Coffin Tooth also.
Oh, that was last year. So they had, that was a bizarre thing. They reached out to me a couple times, wanted me to do some parts in some movies. And I was actually supposed to go to, I want to say Alabama or somewhere, and shoot for several days. And because I had a whole different role. And so that was the script that I had learned. And then all of a sudden they changed their mind. They said, well, you're going to be at the FrankenCon. So why don't we just have you do like a quick cameo, and we'll just shoot it right there. Right. And I was like, oh, bummer. But okay, I don't have to make the drive, whatever. Sure. And so, yeah, I didn't even get the script. So I guess when they revamped the script and sent it to me, I was in the middle of that 8-hour drive and got there and passed out, and then got up the next day, got dressed, and went to the convention. And so their producer guy shows up and says, hey, we want you to do this part. And I had no idea what the part was. It's real. I had not seen the script yet. And so he's trying to hold the script up, and I'm trying to read, and I'm like, that's not working. So I'm trying to memorize it the last minute. But they just had me do like I'm like the weather girl or something on some TV thing. So it's like this itsy bitsy little tiny part. And I haven't even seen it yet. I reached out to him and said, can I get a copy? Crickets.
Well, and I looked it up, and even the IMDb listing, it has it listed as 2024.
Mm-hmm. Well, they may have just released it, but yeah.
That's true. I mean, but you got your Lloyd Kaufman, you got Camille Keaton in it. It's got a cast that I would definitely watch.
It's supposed to be good. I haven't seen it, so someone needs to help reach out to them and get me a copy.
Cloud, I believe. So yeah, but okay. Now I finally get Zoom letting me know that we are running low on time.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. All right, they at least talked to me. Zoom, ladies and gentlemen, Zoom actually screwed me. They did an update. They took away my clock, my timer, everything. So they just kind of have you go blind on this thing. So I know we've got, let's say, at least another 2-3 minutes.
Okay.
I want to thank you so much for having been here.
Thank you.
Again, this is an honor. I'm in awe. I'm starstruck. I'm fanboying over here.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. No, well, I hope I get to meet you when I'm there in a couple of weeks.
Well, unfortunately, I live in Maryland. I am on the east.
Oh, okay.
The funny thing is, as close as I am with Tony, that he and I are so close. He and I have never actually physically even met.
Oh my gosh! Well, you got to be on the show then.
Yeah,
definitely got to do it.
Supposed to hopefully come up here and visit. Possibly he and his wife this summer. They've always got an open invitation. If you ever come through the East Coast, if you do any more conventions, Baltimore, Monster Mania, Jersey, anything like that, please hit me up. I will.
Reach out to them if you know the founders and tell them you want me there.
Done.
I'll come. I'll be there. Tell them to fly me out there.
Consider it done. Is there anything in closing though that you would like to mention? Anything, ways people can reach out to you, get a hold of you, anything?
Well, I have my Facebook page, so that's just Honey.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's Instagram, but I don't know how to use it. Brian does it for me. I'm terrible at that stuff. And
we're not old, folks. We're not. I promise you.
So I'm working on some art, more art and some more stuff, but you can go to Amazon and I have my Horror Flicks Never Die honey
Got 4, 5
movie
right now?
tractor. My movie tracker. So
Yes.
it's like a watch log review that you can do up to 100 movies. And it's just a lot of fun, to keep track of your movie watching. And it's got these funny little things in it for like, how Joe Bob always has this thing. So it's got horror counts. You can say, oh, 3 breasts and 4 demons and, whatever you want to put in here.
Oh, I love that, man.
Uh-huh. And then, you just kind of track it and you can have some fun with it. So it's a lot of fun. It's on Amazon under Honey's Books. So follow me on there.
And of course, Honey does have her own YouTube channel, so please
subscribe
to that one.
So it's under perpetual learning right now. We haven't broke out and done Honey Goes to Driving yet, but anytime that I'm doing something with the movies, I always put my logo for Honey Goes to the Drive-In, which is probably going to be the name of my pilot. So Honey Returns to the Drive-In.
I love that. I love that. And
Yeah. So
have Tony do the mail girl. He can do a mail boy. There you go. And while you're at it, boys and girls, once you finish watching this incredible interview, be sure to hit the subscribe button that's somewhere down here underneath.
Yep. Subscribe.
I definitely thank you for that.
Okay. I want you on my podcast next. So let me know when you're available.
What time is it? Yep. I'll be ready right after dinner. You just let me know. You've got my name, my number. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. I'm John with the Witching Hour podcast. With me this evening was the lovely and multi-talented Honey Gregory. She's going to entertain you and take you to court because she is a certified lawyer. So don't fuck around with her. I'll tell you that.
That's right.
Boys and girls, thank you so much for your support. Check me out on Roku channel and be sure to keep an eye on Honey with her upcoming show and convention sightings. You guys have a great night. And as always, keep it evil.
Ooh. See you later. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honey. You take care.
I enjoyed it. Bye, guys.